Welcome to another episode of Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn, no fill-in for me, even though I think the beautiful Raven could certainly be by my side. And as one of the people that helps process this show's inventory, Christy said to me just yesterday, she goes, I can't wait every day to see what new jewelry items Kim, the Raven, is going to be wearing. And she literally could. She here's an idea, ladies. If you have a bathroom where you're not all caught up in the wall being perfect or whatever, she actually came up with a very clever way to be able to keep all of her pendants that are hanging on chains or leather cords separate from each other and yet visible at one time. She won't let me take a picture of it until it gets more organized. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I should just sneak the picture, but I don't want to face that wrath. Push pins. Yep, just a simple push pin in a sheetrock wall does wonders to hang a leather cord pendant or chain or even pendant or jewelry pieces. You get quite creative. So she literally has a 90-degree angle of two walls, and by way of being, I guess, progressive in our style of the way she displays her jewelry is cutting edge. I've never seen it done before. This is something new. And you know me, all for the cost of a push pin. No, even though, yes, around the corner, okay, ladies, I can hear it now. I did not cheap out. One year I went out and I got one of those expensive 4-foot high, really nice tricked out, all the drawers, bells and whistles and cabinets for her jewelry. And the problem is, where her nicest stuff was, or some of her better things, was in the top part that lifts up like this, okay? So the very top of it, before you get to all the drawers, is one of those, just the whole lid lifts up and you can look down into your little ring finger trays and whatnot. Well, Miss Gabby can appreciate this, and others of you who have larger, more delicate mineral specimens. That's where she decided to display our personal scolecite specimens. Oh yeah, our scolecites sit right on top of that. And for those of you who don't know what a scolecite museum quality specimen looks like, I've sold a couple of them in this show. It looks like a porcupine of beautiful white, silvery white crystals. It is a striking specimen. So the issue being, to get to the jewelry below is quite the act of being careful. So one day she's just going to be surprised and decide to get in there, and it's going to be like all new jewelry to her. So no, she actually has quite the collection, and was that way when I met her. She, of course, is a hippie edge to the whole thing, and dress and style, and she wears it well. Okay, so little sidetracked always there, but that's what we do in this show. We go down different pathways. Some totally off the subject, but still, that was related to jewelry, and even a tip for you ladies that you may only have like in your closet, a smaller area, but you had some semi-precious sterling silver pieces that you wanted to keep organized, but didn't really have the space somewhere else for them, and didn't want to get them all into one jewelry box, all crumpled and crinkled up, which they'll do is scratchy top. Try the push pins in the wall in some place, no one will see it but she like I said, she wears her pieces proudly on the wall, no matter how they look, because I don't see any of the aesthetics of, what she's done. What I see is these amazing pieces of jewelry with these exotic stones in them that, see, I'm bad, that I want to sell to all of you. Oh yeah, that's the end line. She goes, you just want to sell to all of you. And yes, I do. And that's why I bring in some things from time to time that are hers just to show off. And one of those items I wore the other week, and one of the items in the trivia contest is hers. You see, segueing over to this subject, getting us on track for where we're going here. All right, so I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend, and thank you for being patient with what time the show posted. But you know what? As I had told Miss Sarah, who, you know, as everybody should, get a day off, I told her that it was probably good for everyone because it allowed other people to get a chance to get in on inventory that they may not have earlier in the day. So because a lot of people work on Mondays when it usually comes out in the middle of the day, other people get the opportunity to see the show before them. So it kind of mixed everything up. And with the day off, and with the show being time sensitive with the things I discussed, I am just glad that the show got posted that day so everyone could enjoy the evening watching it. And boy, a lot of you did. It was like you were just waiting. And so I'm glad that that came in on Memorial Day, and I'm thankful to the Gem Shopping whole production staff that are involved with this show in making that happen. So that covers it. Let's see, had the week gone by and whatever. Let's get to the comments. But first, to do the comments, part of it is answers to the trivia. So let's go over those three pieces, which the trivia this week was about identifying them as if you were someone that had little information. Someone comes up to you and says, what is this? Which you get all the time. Let's take a look at those three pieces. So this were the three. You were supposed to identify left to right what they were. So I'm just going to go ahead and briefly describe them and tell you, and then those of you will know whether your answer was right or wrong to start with. We got some of both. This, of course, I had to wear it, but I had to borrow it from Raven, because do you think I would own one of the rarest, if not the rarest, representation of the 6th Garnet family that you never see or hear about, the Euverivite. So it's Euverivite bright green garnet. The larger ones, that's the story I tell you about, that this little old man, he couldn't have had more than 50 specimens, and we were at a specialized rock festival attached to the Tellus Science Museum, which those of you in Georgia or the surrounding states, if you've never been, make a trip. It's right off I-75, and it's about more than just rocks and minerals. There's a lot going on there. Tellus, T-E-L-L-U-S. I support all of those type of museums and institutions, especially ones that support the Rock and Mineral Club. So there certainly is a lot of information coming out of there that you need to be in tune with. All right, and actually a lot of friends of mine have actually donated pieces, so it's neat to see some of the amazing amethyst pieces that have been donated to there, and others from claims in North Georgia. So this one had to come a far ways away. It's the most prolific where you can get Euverivite, and that's in Siberia. And what happens, Euverivite gets that green from chromium. Well, guess what this black-bodied ore is that the green sits on? It is chromite, and that is one of the big minerals for mining to smelt for the metal chromium. But because it's chromium, it lends some of those chromium ions and atoms to the makeup of Euverivite, giving it that beautiful, beautiful green color tone. All right, so that was specimen number 1, answer being Euverivite. I would have been open to other names, but there's not too many you can stray from that family. This middle one confused a lot of people. All the different colored greens, because you see the one color side of green there, then this other side, and that multi-directional crystal cluster. But it is one of the common minerals you will find included in quartz. Oftentimes you'll have a quartz crystal that looks like this crystal itself, because there is so much epidote in the quartz crystal. And often in quartz it's those slender needles and often a transparent green. But this is a really nice larger specimen with the 2 colors of epidote from Morocco. I still remember Mr. Anthony being very wise to buy an entire flat of this material. And I have come to find in some of my other epidotes from that locality that these came from, I have found little zircons, little tan color zircons. So let me know if you found any. They're dipyramidal when you find them in the specimens. And out of all that you bought, an entire flat, I can't imagine that there isn't one or quite a few more that would not have some of those neat crystals. So epidote for number 2, then this one. Okay, so boom, look at that bright silvery color. And I actually made sure that this wasn't oxidized so that you could actually see through the surface. And I said it was very heavy, heavy, so a very dense material and a very simple chemical formula. But it produces, this mineral is one of, if not the largest producer of the element lead, and the mineral being galena. Galena gets its own name. I believe, what is it, Galena, Missouri, is it? I think, which Missouri has lead mines. And yeah, so wonderful crystal. I love galena. It's just a bright, lively mineral. So I don't think anything except the epidote will be for sale, but that's just letting you know what the answers are to the trivia. Let's get to the comments. Yeah. All right, so we're starting with Miss Barbara, who actually sent me a picture, a great picture of a crystal. And you've seen the pseudomorphs. You've seen the pseudomorphs I've showed you where malachite has totally overtaken the azurite crystals and other partial ones. This one was a stunning azurite crystal that had been partially engulfed by, you can use all these prolific words that tie back to a meaning of, I think, of like Jaws, because it just is like the malachite does just gobble away. Miss Barbara uses some clever words for that. And you can see it in action until that process gets stopped in Mother Nature for one reason or another. So the amazing thing, though, with the malachite, it was like a bullet of malachite with the incredible banding in the piece. So very showy. For certain. Now, I have shown all of you pseudomorph of malachite after azurite, and I was surprised at how low I went on those, and no one still bought them. Well, I couldn't help it, because I knew that the value to those, and the azurite crystals were really quite well replaced. A lot of times you don't get that really sharp definition, but it's easily a good enough definition of the crystal to be able to determine the type of crystal, and thereby, of course, knowing it's azurite. I did what I tell all of you not to do. I broke one of my own rules. I tell all of you, don't look at how many pieces that you got from me, and don't add up the total of how much money that you spent with me or the show. Those are what you don't do. And what I'm not supposed to do is I'm not supposed to go and look up what the real value to these mineral specimens I'm offering is. So I made that mistake, as some of you I know have broken some other rules as well on your part. I looked and I was aghast, and I didn't go just to one of the names of those, and they're higher end mineral dealers to get the kind of nicer specimens and whatnot. You can find common specimens just randomly on the internet, but to find the more attractive ones, you have to go to particular dealers, and they are easily paying the bills. Now, I say that because I really don't know how much these things cost out there. I'm working off of decades old inventory. My first rock I collected when I was 11 years old, so 51 years ago. And what they were charging retail, I was really happy for all of you. Let me just put it that way. I was really happy for all of you that you recognized opportunities. Now, there's some things that you just completely missed out on or are back home, and I don't know if I'm going to bring them back out. And one of those other items was that incredible knife, that beautiful knife with the obsidian blade with the streak of silver going through the handle. It was an amazing piece, and I was really surprised that someone didn't turn loose of that one. I think that's, yeah. So, anyway, I can tell you this, though. It didn't have an effect on any of the pricing of the items I've shown, because I feel like, I felt that, I want to sell them for that price, and I shouldn't be influenced by outside reality. But what it does tell me also is that, yeah, I want to make sure everyone gets a wonderful, wonderful deal and opportunity, and more so, information is value. And a lot of the lesser expensive specimens, you get the country of origin, and that's about it. Very little other minerals associated with the specimen that are on the specimen, except the primary one. And also, again, no more closer specifics, like the information I had for the Heliodor that you'll hear Miss Barbara compliment on. So let's get started on these comments, and then let's see who wins the trivia. Miss Barbara, that wonderful picture was awesome to see. Miss Cindy in Pennsylvania, hello, Rock family, wonderful show this week, Shawn, very interesting. Trivia, getting all the ones right. You verify Garnet, Peridot, and Galena. Have a great week, everybody. Can't wait for the next show. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Favorite this week was the Tanzanian Savarite Garnets. I agree with you. Those were some beauties. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Great show. Thank you for the mixed parcel of emeralds. So he won in the trivia a parcel of emeralds. And then his next line says, I donated a mixed bag of crystals. He is paying it forward. Of course, reminded me of the day that I decided I wasn't going to do rocks and minerals anymore and donated its incredible geode collection to the Boys Club of America, along with cutting equipment as well. Only to want everything back 6 months later, not from the Boys Club, but where I had sold some of this other equipment and whatnot. I decided, what was I thinking? And it was after having to go back to work at a fish market as a busboy versus what I was making cutting stones, a much more regal job opportunity. So you only do that and make that mistake once. And I never gave up any of, I've donated to schools, but I've never gave up my equipment and items ever since then. But still, love to encourage, and because if you give it in schools, it becomes part of a permanent science collection. So it's year after year after year of that particular class. They usually get into the rocks and minerals and stuff anywhere from 5th to 7th and 8th grade. And so they have those items to touch and feel and discuss and learn from every year. I'm donating a mixed bag of crystals. I think the emerald crystals would be a nice addition. I agree with you. I'll be keeping some of the faceted ones, so I thank you, and I think the Beethoven Elementary School in Boston would thank you as well. Great choice. Great place for them to go, Mr. Anthony. Duct tape and WD-40 is all you need. We were discussing how duct tape has saved me personally, in the past. Especially driving. For FYI, yes, go west, young man. I didn't know, and I said as much. I said, I'm not sure, but I thought that saying, go west, young man, was by Mark Twain. It certainly sounds like something that he would have said, but I stand corrected. It is Horace Greeley. Horace Greeley, who I have actually heard of. I don't know a lot of American writers, but know some and heard of him. So, what is this trivia, he says? Number 1, you very like Garnet. He gets that. Number 2, I knew Horace Greeley said go west. So I think he's trying to use that as getting the right answer. But not sure about the middle specimen. It looks like a monoclinic crystal system, but the different shades of green are throwing me. I'm going with peridot. You went with the right answer. Very good. Number 3, Galena. So Anthony doing fantastic on those answers. Miss Gabby, hello all to my rock-loving family. Of course, that includes the rock lovers behind the cameras and scenes at GSN Always. Was pleasantly surprised to see the show post on the holiday. Checked early afternoon just to make sure and didn't see it, but around 5 p.m. got a note from Miss Barber saying you were on. Thanks again, Miss Barber, because I watched early. Because I was able to watch early, I was able to get the emerald cut diamond parcel. Wow. Talk about picking up a quarter for a nickel on that, indeed. An unusual purchase for me, but I have been wanting to have a loose alexandrite I have set for some time. Thought a couple of these stones would be perfect for a 3-stone ring design. Yes, they would. Also got the crystal parcel just for the dumortierite, my first. The others are a bonus. So I added another member to her mineral collection, and I would do that. I would actually keep a count of all the different mineral specimens I had, and as I would add to that those names. It always made me feel really, really good to get a new one. And of course, the older I got, I had to stray a little bit, like into the radioactive ones, which I was had some thoughts for Brad, since he had some interest in those, and I went back and looked at my collection of them, and I have some. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I doubt, but they're all, of course, very appropriately kept safe. Oh my, that specimen that the dumortierite was in looked like a scepter to me. You know what? Until you just wrote that, I did not think about that. And you're right, it is a scepter formation, which of course adds value when you tie in the dumortierite. And the other thing that makes dumortierite really special in that particular piece is that it is fully enclosed, 2 separate crystal blossoms enclosed by the quartz. A lot of dumortierite is like what they call, snow on a roof. In other words, just a dusting of crystals on the exterior, looking blue, especially in quartz, and looking like there's internal crystals, but they're just more of a surface inclusion. So when you have those interior crystal blossoms, wow, you look at it with some magnification, it just looks amazing. It is amazing. So that's neat that I was able to add another mineral to your collection. Dumortierite's a fantastic mineral, by the way, everybody. They call it the blue jean stone. I've sold beads of it before, and it has a unusual hardness, around 7.5 to 8. So it cuts and polishes quite well. Can't wait to see it under magnification in person. Purchased the stick-tight pendant. Recently purchased another that is nice, but the defined crystals in yours was a huge plus to me. Absolutely. That would make all the difference in my decision making. The stick-tight being very angular and obvious that they are crystalline. And then, though, even rarer is the serpentine having the crystalline angles that you almost never get to see. So in a polished piece like that, it kind of brings them out and is, especially in that size, is very distinct as being crystalline. Again, what I ended up selling that for does not represent the actual individual value of that piece alone. When a true collector goes looking for something special like that, that would be extremely difficult to normally find with those two minerals. Well done on that one. Trivia answers, getting them all right. P.S. Almost forgot to mention, I met someone you know in Helen last week. I went to Betty's. I will have to call up my wonderful son's mom, who I was married to for about 9 years. And it makes a wonderful mom to my son and a wonderful friend to me my entire life, since I've known her, and my entire son's life. It was a great relationship, which I think carries forward and shows in my son's accomplishments and development. We never held him back by divorce, pettiness kind of thing. So, yep, she is a doozy though. She's retired from teaching special education her entire life, but now works basically full-time at the coolest country store you've ever seen. If you ever get up to Helen, to White County in the North Georgia mountains, you need to go by there. So I always say you don't have to ask for her. You can just usually listen for her if you know her voice, and her voice carries. And great teacher voice, I guess. And she is well known there. So I'm glad you said hi to her, and I'll find out the rest of the scoop. I hope she took good care of you. All right. So we have, I got a neat article from Miss Gabby through Miss Barbara regarding new minerals in fulgurite. And I actually am a subscriber to Live Science also, and I recommend that for all of you. If you see that come up, that's a great thing to be subscribed to for if you like science stuff across all kinds of different subjects. So great information there on the potential new mineral in fulgurite created by the strike of a lightning bolt. Miss Barber goes on to say, hi, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. So happy to have a place to share the fun facts I've accumulated about gems, minerals, and anything else. Retirement and then COVID protocols forced me to find resources online to feed my hungry mind, and by chance connected me with wonderful, like-minded people. I have learned so much since my time became my own, and I'm always grateful for everyone's knowledge, camaraderie, and generosity. Please feed the beast. Couldn't resist the non-Ukrainian/Russian Heliodor crystal. So you're the one that got that special one. That's, okay, so I'll read on. Seems it is from a type locality. Sweet, no exterior etching, and so clean. Hooray. Yes, I'm glad that you recognized that piece and why I said it makes up for in its stature in other things about it, and why it was in my own personal collection. And now, like I said, as we're towards the end of a lot of these different things, you're getting things that, you know, I considered part of my personal collection that I haven't sold for decades and I've had for decades. And so some of those crystals you might be seeing now are getting towards the good stuff, or is the good stuff in the case of that Heliodor. The color range of what is classed as Heliodor seems unusually broad, from yellow to yellowish green, orange, all the way to a Jean Marion tall boy beer can sized crystal of cola brown, shown in his barrel display case at the Tucson show in 23. What's the skinny on that? You know, I don't know, but I have an issue with the golden barrel naming, and it is so broad that, you know, you can have a really light colored yellowish barrel and them still be able to call it a golden barrel, which makes it sound so much better than what the look actually is. And of course, Heliodor, or original name, had to do more with the sun, but then they were considered, for a time being, the greenish tint ones were really desirable and collectible. And these have that one not so much, but still a very slight secondary color of green, giving away some of its what am I trying to say? What that actually tells you are clues to confirming its origin of being that locality that it's at. And so, like I said, you can have 3 different mines on 3 different mountains mining the same gemstone, and each different deposit can look completely different from the other and may contain associated minerals completely separate from the others. And that's how, you know, if you have a piece with calcite in the matrix, but the other 2 mines don't have calcite in their ore bodies, then you know the specimen came from that particular mine that has the calcite. Other ways are everything from some mines produce crystals with etching, others not. Others have certain, of course, inclusions. That's how they determine origin of a lot of corundum, ruby and sapphire. So, that particular crystal is a special piece, and look really closely for that topaz crystal that I believe it to be in there. Okay, so let's go back, and Miss Barbara goes on to say, the super high tide place you alluded to might have been the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia near Brunswick border of Canada. The tides go up and down over 30 feet twice a day. Great whirlpools when the tide changes, and that is in reference to. I remember last week I said when people say, "Oh, what can I bring you back?" when they're going on a trip, and I always say something that is free, and I always am just particular. I said, "Pick me up a small rock, just tell me exactly where you got it from." And so I've been doing this for decades, and I have gotten back rocks from all over, and one of the most unusual ones was one that was picked up on a trip that was a organized bus trip to the Bay of Fundy, and that is where I was trying to remember the name but couldn't at the time, but yeah. And so they saw the tide change, and at one of the places that they allowed him to go to the beach, he was able to, it was actually my dad that got this one, to pick me up a rock. And my son is from low tide, which is an unusual place to get one. So that's why I said I've gotten them from all kinds of people, my doctor, from all over different places in the world, and it's just a neat way to do that. All right, Mr. Harry. Mr. Harry says, hey there, Professor, and that beautiful raven and the happening people at GSN. Oh wait, let me see, did I finish that? Oh, here we go. Let me finish first with Miss Barbara. Sorry about that. Early start. Trivia, great druzy on black chromium matrix equals uvarovite garnet. The second one, peridot. The third, goethite replacing pyrite, which you offered earlier this episode. That was a great answer. And it certainly had those shapes to the crystal of galena that looks so similar to it. It just isn't as metallic. The goethite wouldn't be as metallic looking as the fresh face of galena. Now, oxidized face of galena, it would look much more like it. So that was really a great answer there, and could have easily been exactly that. Hope you got the article on fulgurites and a possible new mineral. I did, thank you. Now, that's a boon, a cleaned up cellar that allows climate-controlled sluicing, referencing what I had mentioned last week. A few good things came out of the 5-month odyssey. Lots more goodies for us, and perhaps a chance for you to strike it rich. From my lips to God's ears, right? Right. Be well all. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Mr. Harry says, hey there, Professor, and that beautiful Raven, and the happening people at GSN, as well as my peeps in stone, rock, and minerals, and a definite happy Memorial Day to all. This is from last week. And a special weekend always for me to visit all my family members. Here is my hometown where they all are buried together, and I suppose I will be as well later than sooner, good Lord willing. Yeah, my dad was a World War II Navy guy and was in resupply over waters everywhere. And as he would say, damn those torpedoes. I had the time to go and dig everything up, get the edging all done, bark, mulching, and plant a few of whatever looks good and healthy. You know, when you just said dig things up, I was thinking you went rock hunting, but instead you're doing yard work. Don't know where your priorities are there, Mr. Harry. Besides my dad is mom, okay, my brother Mark, 4 years younger, and my brother Mike, 4 years older. I totally agree on the rarity. I never know what he's going to say. On the rarity of them cat's eye tourmalines. No, you can't, especially nice ones. I have 2 cut and polished emerald-shaped rubellite tourmaline stones from Makin, Russia. One is a carat 79 and a 207 with all the written pedigrees as to their being genuine. I would have snapped the rubellite cat's eye up, but my own Kitty, his 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee with a big Hemi, needed a new set of sneakers, and I got the heavy-duty drilled and verified rotors with ceramic pads for redoing the front brakes. So their work is all done, and next is vehicle inspection. It is soon. So I am more than very well prepared for that. Well, I'm getting back to watching the rest of the show flies as it does. So with all I spent my Jeep money on, I just couldn't swing the rubellite, but it almost was mine. Dang it, oh no, and not a Heliodor, a real one, not fair, man. Problem with the Utah topaz, it loses its color in daytime. Yes, it does. That crystal I have had has been tucked away in the dark for a very long time. So, Miss Gabby, as the new owner of that topaz crystal, you can do whatever you want with it. But it is... reminds me of an episode, and it was about a blue scorpion. It was in reference to another item, but the item always had to be in the dark. So many rocks and minerals are that way. You bring them up out of the ground, spodumene. You bring them up, those crystals up out of the ground, they're beautiful blue. They do not like UV sunlight, and in no time at all, they lose all that color. All right. Let's see. I have had blue ones, though, stable ones, and sold some. Here, right here. Yep. Also, my blue apatite slice I got from you already, I am going to try next Friday if it's still available. Okay, gotta keep focused on not buying. Shawn, that is a $30 to $55 a carat amethyst. Nice material. Most of mine are like this, and the figures I use are Gem Guide's guidelines. Always. Never had a complaint on asking for the value. I'm sure the Savarite ovals test out to be Savarite, but they sure look like a Pakistani peridot. Now, they can look like that because some of the colors do tend to overlap, but there's a couple things that make it easily distinguishable from them not being peridot. The first thing is peridot is birefringent. In other words, it doubles. The back facets you can see would be doubled. You turn it on a refractometer and you get a high and low reading. And that would be the giveaway right there. Garnet is isometric crystal system, and so is singly refractive, and it will not have that property of doubling. The other thing is, when I was first started buying Pakistani peridot, I was being sold it with inclusions of rutile in it, and I kind of laughed. And so I talked to my Pakistani dealer friend at the time. I said, "Why are you selling Pakistani peridot and saying that those are rutile inclusions?" He goes, and then I finished it, and I said, "When they're really Ludwigite." Yeah, Ludwigite. And he goes, "Wow." He goes, "No one has ever caught that." He goes, "Americans don't know and never have heard of that mineral." He goes, "So it would just confuse them. So I put what I think they want it to be." And so, and that's the mineral dealers. That's what he does. And so it's always up to the buyer either to have a situation that he can, like here at Gem Shopping, you have time, you can go to outside sources, you have a right to return it if you're not happy, but also before anything ever goes out, it's quality controlled here as well. So you have a lot of protection there. But other places on the internet, it's the wild, wild west without guns. And yeah, their method of skinning you is is worse in many ways. So he just made up the rutile. And so anyway, Ludwigite, out of 6 stones, there would probably be one of them with some of that in it. And there, of course, is none. And there's such a difference in the brilliance, the refractive index, and so many other ways that I personally wouldn't be caught out or even close to it, without even talking about using a Chelsea filter and a magnet. Oh yeah, you can get all kinds of other kind of field tests that are easy to do if you don't have a refractometer, which would give it away right there. All right, so let's see. Back to Harry. Number 1, he says on the 3 pieces, zoisite with ruby and pargasite. Well, you got close to part of that, but of course that was the garnet, the uvarovite garnet. And then number 2, green tourmaline, and of course it was green epidote, but very tourmaline looking. And number 3, galena, which I thought would have been the hardest one, but nope, got that one right away. God bless you and the family, and happy Memorial Day to all. Love, Harry. And same back at you. P.S. Shawn, I messed up on the question. That's where he fixed it on the first one, so I corrected that for you. Miss Penny says from last week, hello, Shawn, Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow Rockhounds. Thank you, everyone, for your get well wishes and for your generosity, Miss Elisa. They were truly heartwarming. Mr. Charles, good on you for getting back into your hobby. I looked up the plane crash, and I meant to follow up with that because when I mentioned that plane crash about those surviving children, I didn't hear anything else about them being found. So I just hadn't looked to see an update, but after this long, I would have thought we would have heard it if it would have had a successful the president jumped the gun on announcing that they were found, and they hadn't been found. But 4 kids in the jungle, which I've lived in the jungle in Ecuador, and I can't imagine at night, little kids spending it. So I don't think that turned out as well as it was looking to start with. Trivia. Miss Penny says, just as for your information, and she fixes the pronunciation of Greek, and of course, Miss Penny being a native Greek speaker, I have no doubt that she would be right. But here's the thing about the rockhound community. We tend to simplify things over time. That's why there's an international naming body, just to keep the names straight that they use. They've changed so many times over time. And so lepidolite, even in the MNDAT, which is considered the really best research site you can go to, is the one that actually used lepidos for it to mean scales and or stone. So I think they use a broader brush as these names have developed over time, because certainly I'm sure with your actual meaning of lepitha or lepitha means blade or sword, and then the definition of lepia or lepia as the origin is correct. I have no doubt. I got those rings to size of yours, so I'm going to see, I know I can size the one up. I'm going to look into being able to size the one down for you. Something else curious for you, Miss Penny, on lepidolite, since we were talking about it, and since you got the lepidolite pseudomorph, is the page in MNDAT is actually sponsored, oddly enough, by the Central Canadian Federation of Mineralogical Societies. Now that's a mouthful, but how interesting is that? CCFMS are the initials it goes by. So the Central Canadian, so that would be, just a kind of a regional thing, Federation of Mineralogical Societies. Your rock club probably belongs to it, and it's neat that they have of lepidolite of all things. So, all right, I also looked into, and maybe before the end of the show, I'll be able to have an answer for you on finding to see if that yellow lepidolite is available, and let you know. So, as an update for everybody, for Miss Penny, I returned to work this week and my energy runs out halfway through the day, but I'm getting stronger with more energy daily. I will leave for now. Keep it short and sweet. See you all next week. Penny and Mahalis. P.S. I've heard Dave's name mentioned on other GSN shows when they ask him to zoom into an item. With that amazing camera work, it has to be the same Dave as on your show. Great work, Dave. Oddly enough, this place is the house of multiple names, including my own. There's another Shawn. But there is another Dave. But unless it's the weekend, anytime, Miss Penny, that you would be home, which would be from 3 or 4 in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night, if you're watching Gem Shopping, you're watching Dave's camera work. So there is another Dave, works some other shifts and works in other areas of production. But if you're watching it in the evening time, other than the weekend, you got my man right here. And great work indeed he does. Well, since I laughed, I have to say what also chimed in, which is just terrible, to a cameraman. He said, if it's out of focus, it must be him. This day. A lot of fun and camaraderie we have right here. All right, we are almost done. We have Penny and Mahalis answering this week's question. Hello, Shawn, Raven, amazing crew and fellow rockhounds. I hope everyone is well. I'm sure I'll kick myself, but specimen number 1 isn't coming to me right now. Oh man, you know you're kicking yourself. Number 2 is peridot. Looks like lead to me, so I'll say galena, mine for silver on number 3. You got that right. So only missed the first one, and I bet you really knew it in the back of your mind there somewhere. Just saying hello this week, short and sweet. Work is winding down at the end of June. Summer soccer season has started again. Yes, an immense thank you to all the veterans and their families. We have our Remembrance Day, November 11th. It is because of the veterans and their sacrifices that we're free to enjoy everything we have. See you next week and have a great week. You know, they always talk about Memorial Day, and it's funny. How do you say Happy Memorial Day? And I was talking to my son about that. He goes, yeah, it's always been a conundrum. So, you just don't say that. You say have a good Memorial Day or something like that. Now, Memorial Day, of course, is really for the fallen soldiers and there's Veterans Day, of course, for the other soldiers. But it's hard not to tie in the living veterans on Memorial Day with the fallen ones, because believe me, they're all brothers in arms, and it's a true bond that these soldiers create with each other. And when one is lost, it feels like a loss to all. So, even on Memorial Day, veterans in general, it's okay to thank them twice a year, Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Don't remember them just on the days assigned by others to celebrate that sacrifice they give back to the country. See you next week, and have a great week. Penny in my house. Mr. Charles in Oregon. Ciao, fellow rock hounds. Keeping it short. I'm off to bed after day 9 of a 10-day work week. Wow, those emeralds look so good, Anthony. Congratulations on giving me that trivia envy. Here are my answers, and wishing everyone a wonderful week with love. Love back at you there, Charles. He opts out because he won a couple times recently. Malachite pendant, he says, on the first, gets the second on peridot right and third on galena right. The malachite pendant, because of the green colors and all, that was a good, strong answer there, coming in there. But a little bit of that glitter from the crystals probably could have told you that, and no circular or banding pattern, probably could have told you it wasn't going to be malachite. Okay, so there we have it, and we do have a winner this week. And I was just thinking of how, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be right back with the winner, because I have to clean those other items aside, and then I'll bring the winner out. Be right back. Okay, instead of announcing the winner first, I'm showing the gift first. Look at this. These are emeralds, and with a really cool catch. And as we look at this a little closer, you're going to see a nice toggle. Sterling silver, you have faceted emeralds and sterling silver little rondelles there, wrapping all the way around with wonderful freshwater pearls. If it's even not good for you necessarily, it is a great gift also for someone else in your family. Or someone that if you don't wear this combination. Now, what I think is neat and why it works out so perfect when I thought of this, because we are just leaving May, which is the birthstone of emerald. Emerald is the birthstone for the month of May, and heading into June, which the birthstone for June is alexandrite or pearl. So a great piece for the beginning of summer, ending of spring, and the green coming in, as you can see. Tie it all together, and the winner this week is Miss Gabby. Miss Gabby comes in and wins a neat piece. So, yeah, enjoy that, Miss Gabby, and I'll be right back with the start of the show. This is something special. So I was going to show it, or maybe not show it at all, depending on the show and how it was going and how I felt. But since we were just discussing peridot, I thought, yeah, I'll go ahead and sell it. This is one of my very few left large preform of Burmese peridot. Look at the size of this. And what I did, I just roughed out the crystal real quickly, and then you can see into the stone that way and get the real color by polishing windows into the stone. So look at the large table area. Now, this piece is exceptionally clean. Burmese peridot is almost impossible to find in the matrix. So end of story there. The crystals are really coarse and really rough, and many of them have an etched coarse outer surface. I actually left some of the original surface right there, you can see. So when that is done, let's say if that original surface survived all the way until after cutting, for whatever reason, due to the angles, you aren't able to remove the last of what they refer to, and you'll hear this used with diamonds mostly, is a natural. A natural. So when you talk about a diamond, and you have it even GI certified, and there'll be a little notation there, natural on the girdle. That means the girdle, which is the circumference of the stone, the part that goes around the stone, that means that it is part of the original face of the crystal that has not been cut or polished over in any way. They're usually very minuscule. So, and like this one, you wouldn't leave, of course, any intentionally, but I left some there just so you can get an idea of what the original outside of it looks like. So now, looking into this, here's a little bit of the original exterior as well. So looking into this crystal, it has the classic features of peridot. Look at the difference in color of this compared to peridot from other origins, including, I'm just going to say it, China. China, the peridot is prevalent, but often has a much stronger yellow cast. Often you will find inclusions, and this has a, let me give this some backlighting, and this has a classic veil inclusion for peridot. But again, it all comes down to, let me put that right there for a moment. It all comes down to how good is the the gem cutter. And you can often have an inclusion, but the placement of it is such that you can hide or disguise the inclusion, and that's just the sign of a good cutter. Now, let me enhance the lighting through here so you can, that's the way to be able to look into it. Okay, so you can see right on that end, there's that veil inclusion, but it's very difficult to see. Okay, as I turn the angle of it, you can see it right there, right along there. But look how it's not observable from above. And this would be a really fun piece to cut. Look at how clean it is, because for a stone this large to be this clean is exceptional. And this is, again, rough that I can date back, going back 30 to 40 years. I can trace my knowledge of this. So this has been around for a long time. I offered a couple of these a number of years ago, and hopefully they cut some beautiful stones. Here is another chance. Thank you, sir. Look at that. Look at that. Just a, you know, peridot has a long history of odd names as well, or going through different naming process. And it has a long historical run with some of the earliest peridots thought to be mined on, I think it's in the Red Sea, an island in the Red Sea. This piece at over 16 carats is substantial, and they're not finding this kind of material anymore. Like I said, this is such old material. So you can see by the general shape that this would cut a large, I don't know, I'd probably go for an emerald cut on it with step cut facets. You might do real well in doing something like that. Big, nice stone. Big, nice stone. And it is the presence of iron in the chemical makeup determines just how much yellow to brown it will have. So I have a kind of a crazy price opportunity on this for what it is. If you had to go out and buy, and it's pre-formed, many pieces of rough like this are sold with all the extra weight still hanging on them before being roughed out at all. So only $56. It's only $3.50 a carat. Only $56. So to get rough like that, you know, and by the way, when you look at the pricing and valuation of Burma peridot compared to peridot from other sources, other origins, it is 5 to 10 times the price per carat for value. And a lot of it has to do, of course, with the color. The color. It's a classier, I guess, color in the market. And again, the ability for it to cut a large size. That would be a fun challenge. It's also been fun just to have this, and after I cut the window in it like that, just looking at it like that, I don't know. It's like holding that gold nugget in my pocket. There's just some pleasure and fun to that. Okay, let's take you back in time a little bit. Let's go to 111-9723. I don't think I've ever offered this before, believe it or not. And that's hard to believe. I have had this specimen for a very long time. And I thought, well, you know, looking to show something a little different. I thought, yep, time to share and enjoy, let other people enjoy this. A baculite. This is from the South Dakota Pierre Formation, which extends for many, many, many miles. And it relates, it's another form of cephalopod. It's not as old as the orthoceruses that go back to 400 million years old. The baculites live from around 100 million years ago until the KT extinction event. And that was what they refer to as when the impact of the Chicxulub meteor hit the Earth and extinguished 75% of all species on Earth within a few years. And so these suffered as well. And now, to have a section of it this big, it's baculite meant walking stick rock because it grew in a straight formation. It was tapering from the front, and it had, you know, with the little tentacles that come out that you're familiar with, the cephalopods. It grew anywhere from 7 inches or so, well, actually like 3 inches was the smallest variety of them, to over 6 feet. Some varieties got. And they ate phytoplankton in the food column. So they weren't these big hunters. Now, upon the death and the settling of their shell to the bottom, that's when the process starts. If it's covered over, and then the same fossilization process starts as does with an ammonite. And now look what is so special on this. There is, and let's see if we can pick it up. We might need to play around with it because there's an incredibly bright streak of color in this, just like you would find in an ammonite, the gem ammolite. And this has a really strong colors of red. You can see them, but they blanket the entire face of this, and it might be being difficult to pick up some of it as we look at that. And the entire face, you can see as you catch this, the red coming down, and if we try to maybe iris down a little bit, maybe we can catch, there we go, catch a little bit more of that. And you can see how this color, there we go, see it extending across the entire face like that. And then on the other side, look at those colors, and here as well. Now, so that's how, when this material is fossilized to aragonite, and it splits the light between the layers, causing this diffraction of color that you see. Now, the dendrites. Okay, so this is a dendritical, what they call the suture. Now, the suture is what you see, and they often have these deep folds. It's the way to identify different species. They use the shape of these dendritic lines, and they're part of the septum that meets the walls. So this has chambers just like an ammonite, with the siphuncle that runs all the way down through it. And by controlling the amount of gas in that siphuncle, it allowed the baculite to control its depth in the water. Some have said, see how this angle that it lived facing like this. Others have said, well, due to the weight, it would be more likely have been living in the water column like this, with the heavier part turned down. It would make more aerodynamic sense moving through the water, etc. So there's things they still don't know until you see these animals in the wild. Well, they're extinct now. No more in the wild for them. This is a marvelous piece. It's a made in the U.S. piece, so to speak, by with the Pierre Formation and collected in South Dakota. Has everything you want in a really nice fashion, and easily to see all the important parts of it. And by the folds, let me just show you, because I see an obvious one. A lot of these sutures in other cephalopods will go straight across. But look at this one. When it comes here, look at how far out it basically folds instead of coming straight across here. Because this is where the septum meets the walls that of the different chambers, but they have these real intricate patterns that help the researchers determine what species this belongs to. So anyway, it's a neat, precious piece that I have had and enjoyed, and time for me to share it. And that would be something that a lot of you, it'd be difficult to find. So I'm offering that entire piece for only $58. $58 on that. And it's certainly one of those that would be, you'll see a zillion, yeah, that's a number, a zillion ammonites, but you will not see baculites. You'll see orthocerises, and then to find a baculite with the sutures exposed like that, and then with all that iridescence, that really adds value and collectability for what, and desirability for those that look for that sort of thing. Okay, I have some amazing items I'm going to be showing you, so I better get on the ball here, because I also wanted to show you my kit that I have, just randomly. I wanted to show you what I use for a one of my in the field toolkits, but we'll see if we get that far. Item number, this is an outstanding piece. It is 111-9423, and boy, I have cherished this beauty for some time, and now I am going to share it with all of you. This is a, let me actually put a white This is all I have, but it beats the black. Okay, look at this. Look at this stunning, stunning fluorite with this amazing cluster of barite. This has everything a fluorite collector could possibly want. It is from the Moscona mine in the Asturias region. And on top of the barite, it also has calcite, and here's the calcite, and sphalerite. Yes, you can also see some yellow fluorite. At this particular mine, almost all the fluorites were yellow. Purple fluorite was a rarity. This one happens to be more purple than yellow, but I'm going to show you in a moment. But first, let's go in and let me point out the sphalerites so you can find them yourself. They are going to be the dark crystals that kind of stand out. You can see one there. There's also another one there. And there is, let's see, a grouping of them. They're actually orangish in color. You can see another one there, and let me look with my human eyes. And there's also peppered all throughout here, small, it's actually a whole druzy covering of small sphalerites. And then as I look around the edge, I see another one right here. So again, pointing them out to you so you can find them yourself. All right, but that's not the important part. The important part, well, let me show you. And the best way I can show you is to highlight the lighting on this from a behind perspective. And Dave will know what to do with the lights there. All right, now let me show you. Look at this. Now we can look inside this and look at, all of a sudden, let me get a pointer. Here is, for those of you that are into serious collecting and like to look for all the other goodies in crystal specimens, well, you can see this is going to have everything from phantoms to zoning to, let me show you what it really has. And that is, remember I told you yellow is what the mine was known for? Look at this. This is basically yellow fluorite that has been covered over, you can see it right here, with a layer of purple fluorite forming over it. Look at these angular growth formations. Look at how unique those are. That is what collectors really love and enjoy seeing, is exactly how the piece crystallized and how the different plays of color and zoning come in, because each different layer is another stage of growth. And then look at this. So all this yellow, and I just turn it in one direction, and then boom, you get a wonderful purple color tone. Now, in backlighting it, you can see all the other crystals that you often don't see, and a lot of them can be internal. In other words, crystals that have other crystals grown over them, and that's often in the zoning, or the phantom takes a form of a phantom. And this beautiful purple color fluoresces as well. And I didn't check this for all the fluorescence that I could have, but I was afraid if I did all that, I probably would change my mind about selling it. This is a remarkable, there we go, you can actually see the sphalerite and the other color in the sphalerite really well right there. And then as I pull back right there, look at that yellow. That is the driving color that creates this piece to really almost look yellow, except for the purple overgrowth. So this is a, look at that. Look at that. A collector's dream in a lot of ways for a purple specimen fluorite. Thank you, sir. And then here it is as a whole. When looking at it like this, little would you ever know that this was actually had that kind of yellow in it. Look at the saturation of the purple. Really a beautiful, beautiful specimen all the way around from the Moscona mine, and one that I have held on to. But now I'm going to share it for only $128. $128 on that for this type of specimen, this size. And Dave, if we could just do one little tour of what you see on the surface of these crystals aren't just odds and ends, so to speak. They are well-formed additional microcrystals on the fluorite. And you'll see them along the edges. And what may look like some inordinate little bump under magnification will actually be a fully formed crystal. Now, see, there's some interesting things that I'll leave to you to explore, but, you know, what is that? What is that right there shining? That looks some kind of additional crystal growth. What are those? Those are other crystals. So there's a lot. And then look at the barite in its classic form of bladed formation of those crystals. So there is a chance for you there. Now, let me move to the next special piece. And this one, I have decided I am going to include a stand with it. This is item 1119523. Now, this is the one that Dave and I, we actually did some experimenting before the show because, oh no, wait, I have another specimen. It's not, wait, let me, hold on, let me see. That may not be the item number. No, that's not the item number. Sorry about that. That's coming up. Let me see here. Where did that piece go? I have, here we go. Here we go. 9323. Let me get my loop to be sure. Yep, 1119323. Take a look at this. All right, look at this. Scalenahedral. When you see that word, then you know it means dog tooth. And all you have to do is grab it the wrong way and you'll find out just how sharp these crystals are. This is a stunning Spanish specimen from the Villabona mines. So in Asturias. So Asturias, Spain, is a very geologic region holding all kinds of mineralization. And so spread out along it are these series of mines, the Moscona mine. Now we're looking at something from the Villabona mine. Look at this, is in excellent condition with so few areas that are damaged. If we can come in, as we look at this closer, you will be able to see just how, a lot of times, most of the times, the calcite tips are bruised or nicked or chipped. I do not see that in this specimen. This is a very clean specimen. Now the fun thing is, see these? See these? I looked at all of them. They are pyrite crystals. calcite has enveloped pyrite crystals. You can see a little bit of pyrite reflecting there. And how do I know pyrite versus chalcopyrite? Well, there are definitely cubes inside some of those crystals. You can see them to the outside as well when you backlight these. It's unusual. It almost looks like a little egg of some kind incubating in each of those crystals because they're like in the middle of them. It's really unique, but the condition of this specimen is remarkable with so few crystals that have any damage or nicks to them. Here is the bottom, and look at this. Do not ever remove that. That is the original tag marking from when it was assigned this number after being pulled out of the mine. The number or letters, it can be read two ways. The way I was reading it was VR, and then it looks like an A that didn't get really crossed there, but sometimes codes are used. The V, I can figure that out. Villabona. The rest, not so sure about. The cool factor is really, I love the pyrites. I love crystals with other inclusions in them. Inclusions when it's a good thing to have one. And then certainly a calcite specimen, it is. This is from my own collection. I've hung on to it, but I am passing it along, and it can be made to easily, because it almost wants to sit balanced like that on the stand with just some of that goop or what, however. It just displays nicely in a classic form, even just like that. This incredible piece, only $128. $128 on that. So same price as the other one, so making it a little difficult for you maybe to make up your mind. Now, let me show you the third item of the powerhouse of crystal pieces I decided to release this week. And this next item is 111.9523. And I actually had made these prices, and then before I looked at things comparable, I was so shocked by what these actually sell for. But take advantage and go ahead and scoop them up. And it's okay. I wouldn't make it that way if, I didn't want to make sure I gave everyone an amazing, amazing deal. All right, this is a stunning specimen the more you learn about it. And it is a beauty. All right, for one thing, these little clusters are dolomite. Now, you have this reddish color tint to them. Now, they call that a Farian dolomite, or they list it in different ways, but basically it's dolomite with iron impurities. Well, where does that iron come from? Well, as we come in a little closer, you're going to get to see these little sparkly things. Okay, what are they? They don't look brassy like a pyrite cube. No, they don't. As a matter of fact, some of them, if not many of them, have an iridescence to them. Look at these multicolors. Can we go any closer? Because I saw some beautiful iridescent crystals that were grouping together. And look at this. Look at these down here. They are just stunning. And what is that? I don't see any cubes. It is chalcopyrite. Chalcopyrite. So chalcopyrite is the same formula as pyrite, except with additional copper. So pyrite, we know, is an iron sulfide. That is, look at there, that is what is bleeding out to create the reddish color dolomites. And these dolomites, This is in a real unique formation. You can see it almost looks like white crystals, but they're not. Those are just reflections off the faces of an unusual habit that the dolomite is forming in. Now, all that compares nothing to the calcite that lies underneath. This is one of the most fluorescent calcites I have ever seen. For one thing, the calcites are well formed, mostly cubic, it looks like. And secondly, now Dave and I, we're going to try to bring this to you and be able to show you. You see how white and clear? This is exactly, he's captured the color exactly the way my eye is seeing it. Now, I'm going to apply my UV light, flashlight on it, and let's see and show you. See, that's just the natural color that would be with the UV light on it. Go ahead and work your magic there, Dave. And we're going to show you just how fluorescent this is. Look at that. Look at that orange. That orange is even of a greater intensity than what you're seeing now. It is so reflective. Look at that. That it boggles the mind to see something change from a clearish whitish color to an orange color just from a wavelength of light. You're going to enjoy this. This will be a highlight of a fluorescent collection. Thank you, sir. And then it goes back, you can see just the natural white color. Sometimes, remember, with other minerals, you can get triboluminescence and phosphorescence. In other words, you charge them up, you remove the light, and they can still glow for a little bit period of time. This is remarkable. It is a large size. It has nicely spaced chalcopyrites. This is from my own collection. This is from the Moscona mine. And a real gem. If you're, Brad, if you want something that really fluoresces, this is a beauty. And of course, you have stunning iridescence when you look at all these chalcopyrites. It's really beautiful to see those as well. Price on this one? Well, it's certainly worth it. $128. 3 incredible specimens, all same price. And to think, when I think about it, you're able to pick up all 3 for 3 times the 128. If you have the money like that, you'd be walking away with 3 pieces when just one would have cost you that much. So, all right, let me put these up real quick and I'll be right back. I have something here I have not offered before. You have a sapphire parcel. These are beautiful mixed greens, pinks. You have a couple rubies in there, pink sapphires, blue sapphires. They came out of the same piece of jewelry. They're 2.3 to 2.5 millimeters, but most of them are the same size. You know, whether it be 2.4 or whatever. But look at the cut, the radiant cuts. There is some individual ones in here that are stunning. And if I had time, I'd take them out and show them to you individually. Look at that. You can just see the brilliance to these gems. I have, let's see, there's 3.03 carat in those. How would you like to be able to get them all for $36? I am not kidding. $36. That's like $12 a carat. $12 a carat. Now, next, lots to do. Item 112 0123. 112 0123. I am, I decided that I was going to release a couple of my primo Japanese rainbow androdite garnet crystals. These are some that represent some of the more iridescent, more alive, some incredible colors, and beautiful faces to the, in other words, really nice high-end polish on the crystal faces. Look at that. You can see you have a golden maroon color. There's colors that I never knew existed on some of these faces of the crystal. And just a slight rotation of the angle of them will bring you just a whole bunch of other colors. And look at how big this is relative to my finger. So these are large, and 4.54 carat. You go on the internet and one that's a 1 carat is bragged about. Look at the colors in that. The blue and golden now, because I can't compete directly with the light, so you're not seeing some of the reflective colors, but that will be left for you to find them at home. Look at the purples in that one. And look at the goldens in there. And then even look at that multicolor one. Look at that. That's why I said these were some of the premium, look at that one, crystals that I had held back. And so the other side is where they were attached to the matrix wall, which would have been popped off. And when they do that, you can get, can we go in a little closer? All the way? Okay. So, but you'll get these incredible little reflections off of these faces on the bottom of the crystal many times that are just mind-blowing, that are a lot of fun to look for. You just have a light, and look at that. See that face? Look at the colors in that. So, if you want to give something, wow, I just saw a beautiful, to someone as an incredible gift, this would be something that they would not be able to get if they're a rock hound anywhere else at an opportunity like that. There, I was look at the reflection in the mirror, and you see the two different colors. Because of this difference in angle, you're going to get those differences in color. So I like to even play around and look at the reflections in the mirror. Lots of fun to be had, truly, by crystals and minerals when you have a passion for them. Playing with them and looking at the different colors. That is part of the joy, and it is something that I just get enthralled with discovery in that realm. Price on this, only $88. That's less than 20 a carat. And if the crummy ones I saw that were like in the 70, 80 point range still on the internet have no color, and their price is in the same range, and these are monsters. Well, as everyone has said, and all of you have said, that they're a great deal. So none of them have ever come back. I mean, I haven't, I've sold every one I've shown, rightfully so. Look at the color in that. And even if you don't know what to do with it now, even though maybe you already have some, look at the color. So there's the other face. Look at that face. And then look at that face. Those are just those three. You can't go wrong, again, when I talk about buying quarters for nickels. Do it all day long. All day long, even if it's tough to come up with that nickel, but at that kind of value you get. Remember, this mine was closed down in 2005. That was 17 years ago. I have had these, I know, for probably 10 to 12 years ago. So I actually got into these really not that much longer after the mine was closed, and then that was it. And they closed. I mean, they were arresting people because, remember, it's just not a large outcropping, and it's at the entrance, near the entrance to a magnetite mine, of all things. But by far, hands down, the finest of its kind in the world, right there for you. Now, when I was looking at my collection, I decided, let's look at 1/1/20 223. Sorry about that. 1/1/20 223. Odd way to say numbers, not easy that way. To release another one, and that's pretty much what it is. It is a release of a fine specimen to our rockhound family. And look at this. Look at this. This is, yeah, you'll see. You'll know why I tucked it away. For one thing, we only had to go right there at the starting of looking at it to look at that one little angle. Look at the color right there. That was just for starters. You have, look. So you have this where another crystal, see this skeletal remnant where another crystal came up against there and left the angles of the crystal on it. Well, you have different colors emanating from that. Then in this bigger face around there, you have multiple colors. And this one, depending on which way you turn it, greens, goldens, wow. Let's look up here. Blues. Look at that. Look at all those colors. And wow, just look at that. Look at that. And in each of these little indentations, you can find, look at that. Look at the colors outbreaking, just depending on the angle. That's why, look at those. You can look at them over and over. Look at that. Look at all those colors firing off. It's like it is electrified. Wow. Wow. Look. That is one of the finest. This crystal with the faces on it. One of the really, look at that. One of the nicest ones overall I've ever seen. Look at those. That is mesmerizing. There, look at that big face right there, and the greens and the blues in that. Wow. Yeah, this doesn't stop. It has a lot to show off. Now that is a Japanese rainbow androdite right there. My. Look at that. We didn't even see that particular angle before. We did, but it wasn't in those colors. It changed the angle, changed the color. And one more thing, let me set that down for a moment. One more thing I wanted to look at was I saw on one of these, I'm not sure which one it was, but if we can come right up here, this had some beautiful, and this is why you can see them faceted. It had some wonderful clarity or translucency to it and transparency. This one has a strong saturation to the piece, but I was looking, there was one particular angle you could see well through it. Maybe it was on that other stone. Thank you, sir. But you saw that these are faceted. I have not cabochoned one. Look at those colors, not even focused in it, looks good. And anyway, price on this one, I'm curious to take one and cabochon it. I haven't, the faceted ones I haven't even done. I wouldn't mind faceting one. I'm sure that I will when I get a, get a moment in life. I'm going to put these in the those display boxes where you can see them through both sides. So that's going to be included with these. Price on this one, $98. Only $98 on that. And I will put them in one of these display boxes. Suspension boxes, I think they call them. Brand new, you can see, no scratches on it. And that will be included. And it's really neat how these work. Look at that. Tucked away, all safe and sound for you. That's a gem. That's a gem. And I'll do the same to the other one. Okay, now, next I have item 1107823. Now, we've been talking about amethyst, but let's really talk about amethyst. And I am meaning a stone that, without treatment, is of the highest order by way of color and saturation. Yes, sir. That is item 1107823, I hope. Yep, 7823, an amethyst. Look at this gem. Look at that. You look at the reds coming out of that you don't have to even hunt for those. Wow, look at the blue. Look at the blue flashes as well. This has the determinant checks by what is required for something to be a really fine amethyst. Also, look at that. You see that zoning right through there? That difference in color? You want to see that. That tells you it is not a lab grade stone, which anymore. 90% of the amethyst in this quality in the marketplace is going to be lab created. If you do not see something that tells you it is natural in the stone, then you can pretty, well, I could go almost say 100% be assured that the stone's been lab created. And it's just ridiculously prevalent out there. This is a really amazing beauty. Look at the blue. Look at the blue flashes and the red flashes. Classic Uruguayan material, incredible saturation, and you know, right at calibration of a 16 by 12 to easily fit a standardized calibrated mounting. What a stone. What a stone. And I have, now really, I have seen amethyst for like that priced at $100 a carat. And you have too. You have seen it priced like that as well. And you know, it's one of those things, try to find another. There's just not that much out there. But of course, I don't roll with that kind of pricing on it, even though who's to say it's not worth that? There's so little of it available anymore. But I have a price on this that is just really ridiculous for me to budge from it. And I'll do this. I had it priced at $11.35 a carat. It was $88, and no one bought it at $11.35 a carat. I tell you what, if you're gambling, then I'll let you win this one. Let's do this. Final price. If not, I'll keep it for this because I know I can sell it into the market well beyond. But, you know, I do silly things for all of you out there, and I'm going to do it again. Let's make this $77. $10 a carat. Really? $10 a carat. I know some people right now that would be doing backflips to know that I sold a stone of that rarity and quality for that kind of price. But you know, that's the way it goes. But it's only a deal if you take advantage of it. All right, let me show you. Next item. 112. That would be 1120023. I actually haven't shown you anything like this, and this is a fun little parcel. This is, I didn't put it on there because I wasn't going to put the origin of North Carolina because it actually isn't, but it's where I got these. I got these garnets panning for the rubies in the buckets that were salted, the buckets that I knew they had put other material in it. And I got these when I was a teenager. So let me just backlight these and show you. This is some beautiful material, but let me show you. Okay, look at the differences in color. And when you, great, Dave. There we go. All right, look at the pink in the top. You see the different colors of the reds and the oranges. So almandine is the iron garnet, but a lot of other garnets can look the same. So what do? The best thing you can do is, thank you, sir, take a magnet to it, and you know that garnet will have a magnetic pickup response. There's just one thing, because I am spending time here that I shouldn't, but you also get education, which is the greatest thing gem shopping can give you. All right, so these make great for tumbling. I've shown you parcels where I've tumbled them. All right, so you can see how quickly iron garnets will pick up to a neodymium magnet. Now, when I was going through this, I saw this garnet and I went to pick it up, and look at this, it just didn't want to move. This one, and it wasn't because of size. That's a big flat face. That should be picking it straight up. So I got to looking at it, and I backlit it, and what did I find? Well, I didn't find that orange-red color. I found, look at that, I found that purple rhodolite color. And rhodolite is a mix of pyrope and almandine, thank you, sir. And that is why it didn't have as great of a pickup response, had a light response, because of the reduced iron content. Here's a nice piece of rhodolite garnet that's in there also. All right, so there's a fun batch. You can tumble them. You'll be thrilled with the way they look when you're done tumbling them, because look at this. Here is parcels. This is what I have done with them. You can see they'll tumble beautifully, beautifully. Take a really high polish, and you can tumble them just with stand stuff. So I say tumble because I sold, it's been a few years ago, but I sold like brand new in the box. You never know what I'm gonna have, 4 or 5 tumblers from the show here. So have fun with these, because they're only $9. Only $9. But that is a lot of fun, and again, you can educate yourself for $9 by being able to use a magnet to learn different pickup responses, and you can't go wrong with a $9 investment. Let's look at item number 1119923, and this is another fun chance on getting in on something I don't get too often, but these I took out of a piece of jewelry, and they all matched. So what you have, look at that. I love Swiss blue. Swiss blue is probably my most favorite color in the blue topaz line. You have the sky blue, Swiss blue, and London blue. And look at that color. Now, wow, These are cut well, and if there was ever to be anything that looked like a Santa Maria Aqua, these are it right here. Santa Maria Aqua, known to be some of the darkest and finest natural aqua that there is. And I have seen really nice Santa Maria stones, and they are and approach this color in aquamarine naturally, this color. That's an incredible color. Anyway, 7x5s, 12 stones, and nice look, a nice look. Price on these, only $28 for all 12. $28 for all 12. So that's, I don't know, $2.25 each or something. Something kind of silly. And yeah, well worth to take advantage of that deal on those at that price. Now, if you were curious, well, I'll show those parcels another moment. There's a couple things I want to get to, and one of them is right here. I can't believe this. Item number 1114723. Look at what I have. This is an incredible opportunity to get in on blue forest petrified wood. This is, several of you missed out on getting in on this when I offered it. And this is the petrified wood where you have this unusual formation created by when this wood sunk, a growth of algae formed around it, kind of encasing the wood. And then what happened was the wood shrank on the inside, creating and leaving a gap between the outside and the inside. And in this gap, you had chalcedony that formed after petrifying the interior. Then a band of chalcedony formed, and it actually fluoresces a beautiful chartreuse yellow. This has calcite right here. You can see the yellow calcite. This, it looks like you can have worm bore holes, and it looks like there's the potential for what has occurred right there. Then here is some of the leftover. You can see the difference between the algae, where there was algae, and then not, and more right up against the wood. So this is from the pepperwood tree, belongs to the pepperwood tree, and is about 50 million years old. It's one of the most unique and rarest formations of petrified wood due to the way it sealed its own self in and formed really differently. Let's see if that calcite comes through. No, this would be a great piece. So here you can see you had algae forming, and this was kind of where it went crazy on this end down here, because you had the wood where it didn't completely petrify, and you had the chalcedony, the agate, the petrified wood agate, and everything kind of running crazy down here. But up here, it's more of exactly the way it would naturally. This would have been another potential branch that you can see where the two were growing together. Just a unique combination. I'm offering this piece, one of the last ones that I have. You know what? I'll even do a sale price on it. Continuation, since I didn't get to do as much on Memorial Day that I wanted. Only $77 on that. $77. That's a real gem of an opportunity on that. Now, let me show you. Let's see. Yes. Remove these as I talk to myself. Okay, so look at this. This is one of the few that I have left. An oldie but a goodie. And let me see if I can read this tag. 107 6222. 107 6222. And wow, look at that. Look at that. Here is an amazing specimen of something that there's a lot going on. There is malachite, chalcopyrite, ferrous dolomite, like we talked about earlier, and rossicite. Rossicite being a copper zinc carbonate. So a copper carbonate is malachite. Copper and zinc together makes rossicite. A really unique piece for everything going on. So it was named originally for the Rossis mine in Sardinia, Italy, where it was discovered. But this is from Boubeker, Morocco, and has some very unusual characteristics about it. Let's go in and look closer at this. This is an older tag that I'm looking at this, and as we go closer to this, the malachite is a darker green. The rossicite, okay, you see this lighter blue? You see these lighter blue colors? There are actually quite a few around once you get to looking at them. They're going to be your rossicite. Now, oh, good. I do have it in the, thanks, Asa, for typing all that in. I do have it in the description, selenite. That was the key that I wanted to make sure was there. Because everything you're looking at, what this has is a coating or layer of selenite. It looks like glass. Look at all these, see all these reflections everywhere? Including, now here is the ferrous dolomite, or the dolomite that has iron in its makeup. So that's the brownish color. Where does it get that color from? Well, the chalcopyrites. Where are the chalcopyrites? I'll show you in a minute. All right, look at these reflections on the back side that looks like there shouldn't be anything there. That's because there's a layer of selenite. Selenite, of course, is the clearer variety of gypsum. And it has literally coated and protected so much of this specimen from other harsh elements, so to speak. Okay, so here, right here, you may not have recognized it, but there is chalcopyrite blobs. That's the only way. They're chalcopyrite, kind of difficult. You have to look past everything else growing on them. But that is where the iron is coming from. So you can see this darker base area that has bled down and gotten into all the other dolomite, creating a ferrous dolomite. As we look on the back, look at that. Isn't that neat? Look at that reflection. That's because this is so unusual, weird. It just has a coating of selenite across it. And it's fun to look close at it. And you'll see it. Look at that. That looks like a waterfall. You can have, look at that. This is where kids can play. Dave loves his camera work, as I do the rocks, and you put the two together, and you can make some silly music. Look at these little pockets of all kinds of crystals. I have not put the, what is that? I mean, what is that? That doesn't look like the shape of a dolomite. Maybe it is, but I'm telling you, with all these other, the way these minerals form, there could be several other minerals on this piece. This is a unique location and a unique specimen. And under high magnification, you should see these little rosettes. They're amazingly crystallized. All right, I have this piece. I have it on sale. But even that, at that, I realize how inexpensive it is that I'm offering this for you. Only $118 on that. I think Miss Barber had gotten one and commented about how inexpensive it is, especially relative to the size that I'm offering. So only $118 on that. Take advantage of it. Now, I will have to get to showing you my goodie bag or my little field kit of items I carry next week when we have some more time. For now, I want to finish showing you a couple of other items, and I want to make sure that everyone who has ever wanted a parcel of diamonds gets in on what I'm going to do next. 109 43 23. 109 43 23. And these are 2.5 carat lots. Now, that means 2.5 carat. Let me put those right there as I clean this off. 2.5 carat total weight to each of these. And we'll come in as close as we can. I'm not going to dump these out because you can see, look at all that. That has everything you would want. For one thing, notice the color. You don't see browns, you don't see champagnes, you don't see yellows blanketing across there for a general color. So these are fairly white. Yeah, there's a little mix of colors in there, but for the most part, white. And there's going to be a broad selection of everything from single cuts to full cuts. Baguettes, if you ever need to replace a baguette, it usually takes to having a lot of them to be able to have one you need that fits. So you have rounds and you have baguettes. There's 2.5 carat total weight in each parcel. They're basically identical, so if you want to get both parcels, you can. So I am going to really sale price these. 2.5 carats. At $100 a carat, that'd be $250. $100 a carat would be really inexpensive. So I don't know how cheap is cheap, but let's do this and make it a final opportunity discount. And I'm going to offer those at only $148 a parcel. $148 each. So, yeah, do the math on that. You know, that 60 a carat, yeah, that's basically 60 a carat. Would be $150. $60 a carat? Really? Take advantage of it. Grab it. All right, let me get those put away before I drop them. I'll be right back. All right. Remember what I told you? You grade color in diamonds through the side. Look at this. Look at how white that diamond actually is. So I'm calling it GH color. Of course, you know, it's D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and so on all the way past Z when it becomes fancy yellows. All right, so if you can look at a diamond, I mean, for a moment I almost saw a pink color tone, but I think that was my fingernail. No, really, everything can affect it. So when you look at a diamond through its side and can see that it almost disappears against a true white piece of paper, then you know that the diamond lacks any other tints. And here it is from above. So you can see that brilliance can easily mask or disguise color and why you look at it through its side. Now this diamond is the same diamond that came out of a parcel of 20 pointers that I offered. All the other ones sold, and I haven't offered this one until now. This one, I just separated it because it has a little tiny natural on the girdle. Now remember what we talked about naturals being a part of the original face of the crystal. A lot of times they're left in a stone to keep a particular weight. And in this case, they did so because they wanted to keep it a 20-pointer. So the natural is on the very edge of the table being the large white facet, of course, across the top. So it's just at the very edge of it. So it would be very difficult to see even with the loop. It's just a small place, nothing we could see, even begin to see now, even with magnification. But the way they grade stones, that would be part of the grading process. There, yep, even under higher magnification, you can see nothing. So it's a really clean stone. It has the one thing that you can see is color. The human eye can see the differences in color, and you can see when we turn that on its side. Look at that. Look at that. It almost can't even see it. It disappears. So that's what you want to see to know it's a really white stone. Price on this guy, I am going to give you a great opportunity. Look at that. Boy, that is a nice white stone. So I just was conservative, GH. I'm sure it's probably F, G, E, F, something like that. Nice white gem. And to get in on a gem like that, wow. I am going to do something really ridiculous, though, and make it only, I don't know, let's have some fun. How would someone like to buy a quarter for about a few cents? $88. $88 on that. That's it. And that should have you running to the phones. Now, let's see. Clock is running down on us. And so many things left to choose. Let me see. Yep, so let me move this away from there. Put it right there for you so you can see another face and angle to it. Look at how brilliant and well cut that is. That is a real gem. All right, I was getting together last item of the show, making something different. Let's look at item 1025521. Now, this is something I talked to you earlier and mentioned about. I shouldn't give it another go, but you know me and my big heart, I'm going to offer a chance at a pseudomorph. Now that you know more and more about them, take a look at this. This is a complete pseudomorph of malachite after azurite. So that's the way you would say it. It's whatever is gone. The azurite is gone. Now, how do we know? Well, malachite doesn't form in the crystal systems that you see. This is one of the most collectible origins for something like this to come from. And you're talking about the Sumed mine, which has been closed, but it's one of the world's greatest mines, producing one of the largest quantities of unusual different minerals. And the pseudomorphs are particularly desirable. Oftentimes when you look at it like that, you can't really see them, but when you have a lighted angle or turn it to its side, you can all of a sudden see the bright side and the shaded side of the crystal, which then defines them. You can see the formation of the crystals much better than if you looked at it straight down. So this is an incredible opportunity on a very desirable formation and locality, being the Sumed mine, from that where that is from. And I am if you want to have something really unique at a stunning deal, then here it is for you at only $68. $68 on that one. And you know, there was only a few that I had, and I was real surprised by many of you not taking advantage of that offer on the pseudomorphs. But I just don't think you were as educated as you are now. And education is value. And now you can probably see the value and uniqueness to a piece like that. All right. I hope you had your thinking cap on and not just your aluminum foil hat. I will be right back with trivia. Okay, well, that time again. And I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did. I think I always learn things from my end as well. Because of the length of time it takes me to inventory. It's just, you know, like the rosacite piece. I could have just said, okay, yeah, this is rosacite. And, you know, if you got it, you'd be looking at it. It's like, well, yeah, but that looks like the green there looks like malachite. And what's this shiny clear stuff all over it? And, you know, where's the dolomite? I can't tell the dolomite from the matrix. And instead, you get the name of all the minerals, the interactions, how the dolomite came out to be a rust colored. And someone could even say, oh yeah, that's Pharaoh dolomite. Okay, you say, well, that's kind of neat, but where did the iron come from to create the Pharaoh dolomite? In other words, ferrous dolomite with iron, any way you want to say it. And so then I add in the explanation of it draws the iron from the chalcopyrite. And so I tie the whole thing together. It's kind of like a movie, you know? And if you don't have all those pieces of the puzzle, then you're left, to many people, with a rock. And I don't sell just rocks. Now, yeah, there are some leverites, and I was going to show you this. I'll show you this next week, but it was, of course, you know, for those of you that hadn't seen it in a while, what many would consider a rock is actually a piece of mica schist with dozens of garnets in it that I found in my backyard. And it can be found in your backyard as well. And that's why, you know, eyes to the ground, you know, feet planted on Mother Earth, and she will provide. All right, so I try to bring you a show with the information that you can take away from that is far beyond what you would get even if you went to a high-end gem and mineral show. You don't get a little tag just filled with as much information as possible and verbal information and all that tells you everything else. I know, I've been there. I've been to the high-end galleries. I've you know, seen those kind of things, which are prices just beyond, I don't know, beyond my pocketbook and most people's pocketbook. In this instance, in our smaller realm here, you're getting 10 times the information that you would get from buying a piece, many times more. Many times, because I've worked with them, the dealers will, again, still know the primary, the secondary mineralization. But if you get looking at it and you ask, well, what's this little tiny, they won't know. Like when I was selling bonitoite, with bonitoite specimens I had, you know, coming right from San Benito County, it wasn't, the way I bought them, they were sold as bonitoite. That was it, bonitoite. With the reality of it being bonitoite with naturalite, with some really special other tiny, tiny crystals. And I want to know what they were. They were the little orange transparent crystals. I mean, like 1 millimeter. And it took a little research, but I found out that right there where San Benito County is, there's the San Joaquin Mountains. That little crystal isn't found anywhere else, basically. It was named after its discovery there, and it's called Joaquinite. I had to practice saying that. Joaquinite, named after the mountains. And the crystals don't get any bigger than that. It was never told to me that even the natural wasn't explained to me what it was. All it was, and it was, I mean, there was specimens that cost me, $1,400. It was an expensive batch of stuff. No information. Bonitoite, that was it. So that's why I say it's like this is food for your soul that encompasses many courses and everything you need to feel whole and wholesome and good about your purchase. You come away with the knowledge that you deserve to go with that purchase. Kind of like the information on the back of a food bag that you buy at a store, with all that information they give you, because it's necessary. And with rocks and minerals, it can be necessary too. They give you something and, don't tell you it's highly radioactive, which also happened to me on a Malawi agarine piece. And there happened to be one specimen that just went, and I'm thinking about offering it for sale, so I was going to see if how much Brad was interested in those kind of things. It went off the, really high. If I didn't have the Geiger counter, I would have never known it. And the mineral is parasite. I mean, like the bug, parasite, basically. Let me think. Yeah, spelled the same way. But it's named after J.J. Paris, who managed the Muzo Colombian mine from 1828 to 1848 and was discovered during that period of time when he managed it. So he got a mineral named after him. Very radioactive one. And as many radioactive minerals are, the crystal composition is somewhat eroded and decomposed, but nevertheless, this specimen is really cool. But anyway, that's for another day, another story. You ready for your trivia? All right, to answer the trivia questions, you cannot rewind or replay it after you've read the questions. You can watch the show as many times as you want, up to the point of the questions. You can take notes during watching all you want and use those notes to answer that question. That is totally acceptable. When we have multiple correct answers, we assign a number. That's how we actually do it. Assign a number to each person, then I randomly ask one of the guys to pick a number between such and such, and there we go. The magic happens after that. A lot of times it really seems like it evenly divides up winners time-wise. Other times, the other day, Charles won it almost kind of back-to-back or very shortly next to each other. And, the answer to that is must have been what he was supposed to have. So let the magic happen. You got to give it room. Here we go. 2 questions. I'll take down my fallen light. The first one. What is the name of the original part of a crystal that is still left exposed after cutting? I'll repeat it. What is the name of the original part of a crystal that is still left exposed after cutting? What is the name given to that particular spot? I won't necessarily say inclusions because it's not necessarily inside it. It's exterior, on the exterior. What is that spot called? All right, question number 2. Pakistani peridot often has an unusual crystal inclusion in it that is often mistaken for rutile. What is the real name of the inclusion? I'll repeat it. Pakistani peridot often has an unusual crystal inclusion in it that is often mistaken for rutile. What is the real name of the inclusion that is found in Pakistani peridot? All right, those are your questions. Good luck with the answers. I will continue on my search to bring you some unusual items. I found, well, those special pieces that I had set aside from that amazing estate purchase I was able to get in on years ago from the Spanish fluorite mines. And that is some of the leftovers that we have enjoyed for many years. And now, hopefully, some of you will take advantage of those others and get to enjoy the additional energy from me having them on to you. And out there to all of Mother Earth, staying in tune with her. All right, so I hope it doesn't get too hot too soon wherever you are. You know, this is already, it's like someone flips a switch. From May, it was nice, not too bad, and instantly June, we're automatically, boom, into the upper 80s and mid 80s. And for me, whew, can't take it. All right, stay indoors then. Find lapidary hobbies, do wire wrapping, find your lane that you want to be in for the future, and enjoy the realm of possibilities that working with Mother Nature's crystals, gems, and minerals that she gives us. And it's great when we turn it into something that we adore, that we honor, and that we respect. And jewelry is a great way to do that. God bless all of you. And you remember, you never know when the show's going to pop up on a Monday. Might keep you on your heels. But we always try to bring it to you Monday. I'll see you then.